Hello, today we're going to practice a few advanced volume problems. The first problem we're going to see is this one. Find the volume of the whole container. Notice the cubes here forming the rectangular prism did not fill the entire container. And our goal is to find the volume of the whole container. So the first thing you can do is first identify my base. By looking at my base, I have a length of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 cube units. Now, here I have a width of 1. Now, that width of 1 unit and the length of 6 units creates my base. Now, to find the area of my base, I can simply do 6 times 1. However, to find the volume, we also need to find our height. Now, here my height, clearly by looking at these cubes, are 1, 2 units. However, we want the volume of the whole container, so we need this space as well. And by looking here, we need to figure out what is this missing piece here. And imagine if I was to have a cube, it's literally exactly the same size as this cube. So now instead of having a height of 2 units, my height would really be 1, 2, 3 units. This way I'm filling the entire container, which is what the question was asking us to do. So now to find my volume, all I need to do is do my length times my width, which is my area of my base, times my height. So now again, I'm just out of the habit of doing this in 2 steps. 6 times 1 is 6 times 3. And now that equals a volume of 18 cubic units, or you can also do units cubed. Now notice it was asking us for the volume, but the problem was this picture did not give us any length, width, or height. We had to take a closer look at the picture and determine what the length, the width, and the height was. Once you can determine that, then you can find the volume. So this is a 2-step process. That length, the width, and the height wasn't immediately given to you. You had to take a moment and think about how can you find it. Now, in this problem here, it says find the volume of the building. However, I notice this building is comprised of 2 rectangular prisms. So the first thing I'm actually going to do is label the 2 rectangular prisms. So I have rectangular prism 1 here and rectangular prism 2 here. I do notice for each of them, I have a given width, a given length, and a given height. For rectangular prism 2, I'll do this one in green to differentiate the 2 buildings. So here I have a given length of 6, or width of 6, and I give another side length here of 8, giving me the area of the base of this rectangular prism. And now I have my height of 4 meters. Now I can find the volume of both rectangular prisms. So I'm going to first start with my yellow rectangular prism. I'm going to call this rectangular prism 1. I'm going to take my volume, 8 times 4 times 10. So now here I have 8 times 4, which is 32, times 10. So now, once I do 32 times 10, I have a volume of 320. However, I'm not completely finished. I found the volume of rectangular prism 1, that's 320 cubic units or units cubed. But now I also need to do this for the part 2 of my building. So part 2 I'll write over here due to space. So I'm going to label this 2. And now looking here, I have 8 times 6, which is the area of my base, times my height of 4. So now here I have 8 times 6, which is 48, times 4. And now, if you need to write anything out on the side, that's completely fine. That's why you are doing these problems on scrap paper, because they require many steps to find the final answer. So now once you multiply here on the side, I get a value of 192. And actually we have meters cubed. So here, instead of units, I'm going to put meters because we do have our unit of measurement here as meters for both these buildings. So I have 192 meters cubed. Now, both these answers are very, very important. Now, my last step is to find the sum. I'm going to take the volume of part 1, 320, and add it to part 2 to give me 192. Now, once I find the sum, I will have my total volume. So now this is telling me the volume of this entire building is 512 meters cubed. And that's telling me the entire volume here. Okay, so notice I broke this up into 2 steps, which is completely fine. You have to do that in order to find the volume. It's not instantly length times width times height. You had to do 2 steps. Now for this next one here, it says the right rectangular prism below has a length of 4 units, a width of 3 units, and a height of 6. Select the 3 equations that can be used to find the volume of the prism. Now, by looking at the answers, I actually don't even need to multiply because they don't want all of those. They don't need the final volume value. They just want to determine a correct equation. So here I know I have my length of 4 times my width of 3 and a height of 6. Now, this rectangular prism was given to you to help you visualize this. My length, my width, my height. So now, if this is my volume, I need to determine how many of these equations could be the right answer. Now, many of you did not fully read the problem because you only selected 1 or 2 equations. And in fact, they're telling you you need to find 3 equations. So now, since they told you you need to find 3, you need to look closely and find all 3. So first thing, right away, I see 4 times 3 times 6. This is definitely correct. This problem I see addition, which clearly in my formula there's no addition. And here I have 7 times 6, which is telling me you added your length and my width, which again, there's no adding here. Now here I have 4 times 3 times 6, which is exactly what I have. Even though there's parentheses, we know that multiplication doesn't matter if there's parentheses or not, and you can flip the order in any way. So that totally is correct. And here I have 12 times 6, but I don't see 12 times 6 here. But I do notice 4 times 3 is 12, and then I multiply by my height is 6. So it looks like for A, they started the multiplying. They didn't finish it to find the final answer. But 12 times 6, all they did was take the area of the base times your height, which we know that volume is area of the base times your height. Therefore, A, B, and E are all correct answers. It's important that you read the problem fully. Some of you went right to solving, but you really didn't need to solve at all. You could have just looked and see what the question was asking for. Now this next one here, believe it or not, all it's asking you for in this figure, each cube is the same size, 1 cubic unit, and all cubes are shown. What is the volume of this figure? Enter your answer in the box. Now, volume is how much space an object takes up. Believe it or not, all you are doing for this problem is counting how many cubes you see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. So your answer here is 14 cubic units. Even though it wasn't an exact rectangular prism, you did learn that volume is how much space an object takes up. So you have cubes. All you need to do is count the cubes to determine the volume of this object. Now for this problem here, what is the volume of the figure? Now I noticed this figure didn't give us a length, a width, or a height. So we need to use the cube or rectangular prism given to us to determine what the length, the width, and the height is. And notice here they told us that the height here of one cube is 1 inch. So you have 1 cubic unit. So here, all I'm doing is counting the cubes I have. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So my length is 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. My width is 5. And my height, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, is 5 again. So it's actually telling me this is a perfect cube. So all I'm doing now is 5 times 5 times 5. But notice I had to use my picture to help me find that volume. If I didn't use the picture, I would have no idea what to do. So now I can begin multiplying, and in fact, you will get an answer of 125 inches cubed, or cubic inches. Now again, you have to read each of these problems. You know how to find the volume of rectangular prisms. You know what you need to do that. You need your length, your width, your height. You understand that volume is comprised of, you understand that volume consists of how much space is in an object. You know what to do. However, you need to read each problem carefully to help you determine how to find your answer. That's going to require you to recall some previous knowledge learned and apply it to help you figure out some of these difficult volume problems. But I believe if you read the problem fully, you will be able to easily solve each problem. As always, feel free to look back at this video at any time to help you with today's activities.